Mike Vines, how are you?
I'm very excited. I don't think you've ever interviewed me, actually.
I'm tired. Well, listen, first for everything. The first thing we've got to say, because this whole series of webinars and podcasts I'm doing this week is with all Fitpro friends who have embraced the new world. Everyone was taking the mick out of me last night on the webinar for saying new world a million times, but embraced it all and running with it. And this week we should have been in Ibiza, actually, shouldn't we? We should have been celebrating in Ibiza.
Oh, no.
That's crazy. So take me back then to just put everybody into the picture. Mike runs a boutique studio, really beautiful studio near Leicestershire. He runs a full-time table, very popular, been working in the community for many, many years, been in the fitness industry for many years. He presents fitness Pilates, international presenter, works with Jane Nichols. And your studio is really your life, isn't it? You put your heart and soul into it. It's a beautiful space. So that week coming up to lockdown, how was you feeling and what did you think you were going to do?
Do you know, honestly, the whole thing was so random because I decided to shut the studio before the government decided we needed to close the studio. I think that I can't even explain. In fact, if I look back, I've been trading my online studio now for 5 weeks coming up this Friday. And if I actually reflect back on the week before I decided to close the studio, put out a text message to all my class members, send out an email, it all blurs into one. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if I was feeling apprehensive, excited, because I was having to embark on something new. At the end of the day, what was going to be, I remember having a conversation with Mac, and there's a lot of people that obviously won't know me and my partner and stuff, but we've got a B&B together as well. And we had a conversation and he was quite frantic about it, saying that, well, oh my God, what if we lose and everything? And I'm like, and my honest answer to that, and I put it into one of my newsletters recently, is I really don't care if we lost everything, as long as our immediate family and our immediate friends' health was not jeopardized through this situation. We can always rebuild things. And I hand on heart mean that. I do not, I love my business like you love your business, but health, honestly, I've never meant this word so much, health is wealth. And I think that week coming up to this, it was more important that I protected my clients by shutting the studio down, because I know full well if I'd kept it open, my loyals would have still, even my, I think me and you had this, I don't know if fans on Facebook, but I know my over 60s that diarise it week on week would still put themselves in danger to support me. So I felt it was the reasonable thing to do to shut the studio down. And at that point, I possibly had 15 people in mind that wanted to join me for my live workouts. Ridiculous. I mean, it's funny now when I look back at it, even though it's it feels like I've lived about 5. Do you think this?
Oh my God, it's every day is like 10 months in the old world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Things change so fast. I mean, you obviously, because your partner and yourself have got a pub as well, a restaurant and a B&B. So I suppose you both could see where this was all going, maybe perhaps a little bit further down the road before everybody else realised where it was going. So now you do social media so well, but you'd never gone live. You've never done it, although I've told you many times to do it, and you never did it. So how did you get the bottle, I suppose, to do it and set it up? And you've made such a lovely job of it. How did it all come together?
Right. So I think the way I overcome, because those are people that know me, and you've known me for a while, and a few others are, and I think people would be surprised that I feel like I do when before I go live. And I get this nervous energy inside me every time, just before you press that start button. It's almost like, just make sure I look okay, do I know what I'm saying? And do you know what? It's really weird, because the first time I went live into my what I've renamed it a BVS, my boutique virtual studio. So whenever I go live in there, I actually know the people in there want me because they've subscribed to my studio.
Yeah.
And that makes it a lot more that makes it a lot more safe for me to live than going live. I've done some work for Turkey last week, and I went live on their page, and I just didn't know who I was teaching.
Who was you broadcasting to?
If they could understand, if they got my jokes, if they didn't get my jokes. And it's hard, Rach, isn't it? Because I remember I went live on my actual business page for people that didn't want to pay to come into my online studio. And someone said, oh, tagged all of their friends in. Mike's going live doing yoga X, Y, and Z, or doing fitness parties, or whatever I was doing. And I remember this one comment saying, oh, no, such and such is far better than him.
Oh, no. Straight to the heart.
And yeah, and actually that actually wrecked the rest of my day, because it took me the rest of the day to actually process it, think about it, and actually then come back from it thinking, well, actually, do you know what? We're going through a pandemic. We're going through this awful time. You know, before this happened, I will say this now, even though I'm just going off on one, but before this happened, let's not forget Caroline Flack and the whole just be kind to everyone and stuff like that. And that I was determined in my studio that I was going to run with that for the rest of this year, like do charity events and stuff like that before the COVID-19 happened. And I just thought, well, do you know what? If you want to make a comment like that, then actually, someone said to me, you're not going to remove it. I'm like, no, because I haven't responded, and because they, you know what, it makes them look just as ridiculous as anybody else.
It does.
So going back to your initial comment 5 hours ago, sorry mate, I just go on, don't I? Going live is so much easier doing it in my paid group than it is going live to people that I don't know might just hop on just to critique what I'm doing, just to go, do you know what I'm saying?
I do, exactly what you're saying. So I remember, it was that Monday, because you called me about the PayPal subscription. So you quickly did pivot. You decided to charge. Lots of people went in with free and to get used to it, but you didn't. You went straight from your membership. So did your existing members, did you honor their packages, or did you freeze all that and this started again with new membership? How did you actually cross it over?
So in my studio, for those people that don't know my setup, it is pay as you go. I don't do any block bookings. I never have. I've tried it, and it doesn't work for me and my classes. The way I run my physical studio is other teachers hire it from me. So if they want to do their own packages, they can do. But for my actual classes, it's pay as you go. If they're not there, they don't pay for it as such. So in terms of my class memberships, I didn't even have to think about honouring they paid. It was quite an easy transition. And actually, I remember doing a bit of a poll, putting it out there, and this poll was all about what would you pay for X amount of classes a week. And actually, what I am very lucky about, and what you are, and what Jane is in all the, I suppose, I can't believe I'm putting myself into an old school category. But I'm going to put myself in that box straight away. I suppose what I'm going to say is, I'm lucky to be able to teach not a wide, but a different genres of different exercises and stuff. Like I come from dance aerobics and stuff like that was what attracted me to teaching in the first place. So I'm very lucky that I can actually put on a full timetable that is just yoga. It's not just Pilates. It's everything. Yeah. So it's quite attractive to a wider audience. Yeah. So I didn't have to honour anybody's payment. I basically put it out there. Someone came back, quite rightly so, because I asked them the question, and they said Les Mills is doing a week or two completely free, and then it's only, I think, £12 a month and stuff. And that made me think, oh my God, I can't do this for that. I could not do it for that amount of money. I can't. If I only have like 10, 20, 30 people, £12 a month, I've still got my studio rent to pay. The government's not done anything for my rental on the studio. I've still got to find a substantial amount of money to pay my rent every month. So I had a chat with other Fitpros, and I decided that I was going to just do £7.50 a week and do it a 2-week membership of £15 every 2 weeks. They can cancel within 2 weeks, so it's almost like a taster. If they want to stay with me, they can stay with me and stuff. The other USP, I think, and you'd probably agree, is that they're not just doing my class now, it's actually in an album that they can go into and access at any time.
Yeah, I saw you putting it together yesterday.
Yeah, and it looks amazing. I've been playing, honestly though, mate, you sit there thinking, I'm just going to have 5 minutes to myself, and then you go, oh, just do this, or just do this. Ridiculous. So yeah, so that's another brilliant tool to say to people, if you can't make my live timetable, you can just access it whenever you can make it. So really, I was going to put it out there to about 20 or 30 people that wanted me to go online. And they said £15 for every 2 weeks was perfect. They would sign up to it. And I spoke to you, you helped me get all the PayPal code sorted out. And then I went into Facebook and started playing around with how I was going to work that side of things out, really.
And yeah, I mean, the good thing about you, I mean, it just went mad. It went viral, didn't it? It was like people were just joining so quick. And it wasn't then, the great thing about it, it wasn't just your local clients. They were telling their friends, and their friends were joining, and people from Switzerland and people from Germany and people that you've met on holiday.
I know. Honestly, it's gone ridiculous on that first day. Right, in fact, you would remember this. So anyone that's watching, I decided to set up an online business about 8 years ago now called Viva You.
Yeah.
And, on it was aerobics, fitness, Pilates. Vicky Hilditch was teaching fitness Pilates, and on there for me. And I spent about £3,000 on this website. 8 years ago, it's quite a lot of money.
Yeah, massive.
Now. And I remember I was going live with it at 6 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. And I spent all this money I spent on videos, cameras, lighting, everything. And as soon as my website bloke pressed live, I sat there and £9.99 came through. And then I looked at my phone again, and then I was like, right, another hour passed, nothing.
No.
Another hour passed. And honestly, the hard part is, the easy part is setting something up, actually. It's actually marketing it and keeping it alive.
Keep going. Yes, keeping it alive. You're right.
That's so challenging. I can't remember your question, mate.
So you kicked off with this big timetable, classes at all times. You were doing lots of things, chats and talking about hair. I went on and they were talking about haircuts one day, and somebody, such a lovely community and a really nice vibe, very positive. And so that first week, you got a good turnout, and I bet you were really pleased, but working hard. Were you doing did you start with 3 or 4 classes a day? Was it big or was it?
Yeah, I do about 13 classes a week.
Did you change it after a week, Mike? Did you sort of tweak it a little bit after that first initial week?
Well, the amazing thing is you can do, I mean, virtually, I can literally go and think, right, next week I want to add this class on, I want to add this class on. Whereas my physical timetable, you can't change it that frequently, or people they'll turn up to the wrong class, or they won't pay any attention and stuff. Yeah. But no, I still do the same amount of classes. Yeah. So I still do about 13 a week. And actually, for me, that's brilliant, because I used to only teach 7 a week in my actual physical studio, but I used to PT around 30 people a week. So I'm still actually working less, and it sounds awful, but I'm using less energy.
Okay.
Teaching in my virtual studio than I would be in my physical personal training studio, because it's quite demanding when you're PT and that amount of clients every week.
Oh, wow, it is. And you work hard, long hours, early starts. So are we up to about 200 members now? Is it
210? Yeah.
That's amazing, Mike. Congratulations. It's phenomenal. It's so lovely. I'm so happy to hear how well it's going. So the big question is, when the new world, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen over the next few weeks. We've definitely got 21 days, as we know. Then maybe some kind of restriction will be lifted, but it's unlikely that we're going to go back to the old group exercise that we knew. Maybe there's going to be social distancing. Maybe, when studios are able to open again, it will be smaller numbers. We don't know. We don't know how that is going to roll. So have you been thinking about how you're going to amalgamate this new digital business with your physical business?
Oh my God,
Oh,
sleep nights,
how you,
notepads by the bed, everything. Yeah, 100%. Because I love teaching to such a wide variety of people as well. It gets me so excited. I think what happened was when I worked in Turkey last year, I'm going to digress and come back.
okay.
I had a class that had one person that could speak English in one of the hotels I was out there with. And it made me teach in a different way. I had to use my arms more for my eyes. I had to use, I suppose I had to be more animated.
Yeah, just communicate differently, more
Yeah,
visually. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, 100%. So I think teaching online has actually made me think about, it's progressed my teaching in a completely different format. And actually what's really, really weird is a lot of my class members that I teach here physically, they said that it's amazing because they're getting so much more from this because
Oh,
I'm saying so much more in terms of giving them progression and regression. Whereas in my class, if I've had them, they've been coming to me for years, we just sometimes crack on with it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I can
Oh,
choose their own. I've become quite lazy to
yeah,
in
yeah, of course.
some scenarios. Uh, so anyway, so the amalgamation of digital and physical and everything else. So what I've done is I've actually put out a question out there in my digital studio, and I've asked people if they'd be interested in me carrying on with the digital timetable. And I literally on that question, I think had about 68 replies saying 110%.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, don't know what we'd do without it. I don't live near you. I'm in London. Got Evelyn in Scotland. I've got Sue in Australia. I've got now Christine in Switzerland. And like they're all saying now that they wouldn't want me to stop. And then I've actually got my local clients that are saying what they might do is I might do a bit of a blended journey with you.
Yeah,
So I might do, instead of 3 physical classes a week, probably 1, and then do your online the rest of the week, because 20 minutes to drive to the studio,
yeah,
then put your mat down, have a little chit chat, do the class, coffee, chit chat, half a day, literally gone.
yeah,
And it is all about the wellness side of things, and it is all about, my studio has always been based around the social and community side of things. However, I think a lot of people have took from this that they could possibly do that once a week and then do this online twice a week instead of coming to have 3 mornings gone a week
yeah,
with me, sort of
yeah,
thing. So I think a blended style of training, virtual and digital and physical, is actually a really, really good way forward.
yeah,
And also what I've said to the people in London and stuff like that, I've said what I might do at the end of this journey, at the end of lockdown, is actually change my subscription price,
yeah,
set a completely new page, but take all of our footage from this page
yeah.
and actually do it at a cheaper membership. So people can still afford to go to their gyms and stuff, but they don't feel like they need to quit me and they need to quit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I prefer them to do it like, oh, I can do Mike at 9 o'clock tonight, so I can be late from work. I don't have to rush to the gym. I don't have to get stuck in traffic. But on Saturday, I want to see my friends at the gym, so I'll do that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
That sounds like a really good option. So what's been the most, because you're teaching such a wide variety and you've done some pop-ups and you've had guest presenters in with James guested. So what have people really enjoyed? Just the whole blend and the variety? Or is
Yeah,
there that's
yeah,
stood out?
yeah, all of it. I mean, to be fair, I've done what pop-ups. They loved I did a PJ stretch, relaxation, rejuvenate class with a glass of fizz afterwards. And that was on a Thursday, and we finished at 7:45, and then we all knew we was going to leave that and go outside and clap for the NHS at 8 o'clock. So that was lovely. That was really well attended. Jane's one that she did, her yin yang one, was really well attended. Isn't it funny? I'm looking at like the number in the left hand screen to see what my class numbers are looking like. It's ridiculous. And they loved. Do you know what? I spent, who knows, half a day, or not half a day, a few hours working on your activation band pop-up that I taught on Friday. And I was dreading it because I said to Jane, I said, the mic, without Rachel knowing, is just block her for that morning because we don't want to seen me doing a horrible job of it.
Oh no, I just saw you. No, I saw you doing some repeaters. I was like, yeah, this looks great.
I know. Do you know what? I loved it.
I
did. I loved it, and they loved it as well. And what was really lovely is, and I think it's really nice that you can help other people's businesses, is the fact that I know as soon as I said I was going to do it, they went to you. You had quite a few deals from my guys. And it's just really nice to be able to pass it and share the love.
Sure. Lots of your people bought bands, which was amazing. So because we're self-isolating here, so all my bands are at my mum and dad's. So they were getting Hermes to pick up at the doorstep. They were packing them all. I didn't, because we've not been out the door for walk. So mum and dad were doing that. Because we wouldn't go to the post office, so they were getting Hermes. So we were sending them all up, and I think everybody got them, didn't there? There was no.
Yeah, definitely. My friend, my friend in Australia, she ordered one.
Yeah, great.
It's random.
So what next then? We've got the next 3 weeks. Then what have you got planned for the digital mic bands extravaganza?
So tomorrow we're kicking off at 10:30 with a coffee and Q&A. We sit down, and that's very well attended. I did it a couple of weeks ago. And actually what I love about this is that I'm bringing my PT knowledge into the digital world. And I sat there and basically said, I wanted to discuss how you can create a fat burning window. In my opinion, what's worked for my clients is, and then I spoke to them about carbohydrates, fats, protein, and they were glued to it. And then the amount of questions I had after that was phenomenal. So tomorrow I've got a Q&A at 10:30, and I'm going to discuss their training zones and on their 1 hour a day that they've got to go outside, how they target their 60 to 70% fat burning heart rate zone in their one exercise a day outside. So that's tomorrow. So it's almost like I'm giving them more than just classes. We are a community.
A community.
Is that?
He's got to put his.
Hello.
Hello. We have to give our hands. Carry on.
Oh, very well trained, Ray. That's because you're talking to me.
That's enough.
Not glue, is it?
No. Okay. So you've got, what other Q&As have you got this week? Just those one every day, or?
Yeah, I've just got the Q&A every day. Then I've got my normal classes from HIIT, Fitness Pilates, Freestyle Fitness Yoga. I teach, I've got a PJ stretch and fitness class again. Jane's doing a pop-up bar class this week on Friday, bar fitness class. And that's it, just a general timetable. But I think also I asked them to keep positive diaries as well, to write down one positive that they're taking from this. Because actually what I said to them to start off with is, if I had a journal that my gran had left me from how she felt in World War II every day, how interesting would that be to read and stuff? And I just think that this is going to be written in history for hundreds of years to come. And if someone could pass on a journal to their grandkids, great-grandkids, and say, my grandparents lived through COVID-19 and they survived it, and these were their positive thoughts every day. I think that's such a lovely thing.
That's a great idea. I love that. I'm going to do that. I love it.
Yeah, it's just pass on and pass on and pass on. Such a lovely thing. So I've got them all talking to them, and then I read from this book. You've got that book.
That book, yeah. Jane bought it for Logan. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so just stuff like that, it gives them so much more than just classes. It is a community virtually, and everyone sends me photos of them training and stuff like that. Honestly, it excites me so much.
Doesn't it? I'm with you, Mike. Tell us though, on a personal note, and we just discussed this very quickly before we came on. It's like this roller coaster of emotions where you wake up one day and you're going to change the world, and you're so excited, and then we get tired, emotion. We watch maybe a bit too much news, or we see something negative that maybe affects our mindset. How do you maintain that positive energy and vibe through these times? How do you do it?
Do you know what? My guys on there are doing it for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's this, isn't it? It's being of service. Yeah.
So the amount of beautiful messages and comments, and actually it blew me away. Some people are isolating on their own. Some people say I actually give them their weekly routine now, through the classes in the morning, to the afternoon, to the evening. And it makes me, I've got a little bit goosebumpy, because I didn't expect this. It wasn't what I expected. I didn't set out to do this. I actually, but they are giving me the most amazing experience. Whether it stays, whether it doesn't, I believe it will do, if I'm totally honest.
It's
I
having
believe,
a purpose though, isn't it? It's having a purpose and having a structure and people enjoying what you're putting out there, being creative and getting the energy back. I don't think, even though it's through a screen, the energy that you get back from everyone is phenomenal, isn't it? You're literally buzzing, aren't you, before, when you come off the lab?
yeah,
So
it's weird
good.
how it can be like that, don't you think? It's so weird. And actually, me having a timetable to stick to, like yourself and stuff, it makes me get up in the morning, it
Yeah.
makes me get dressed, it makes me do my hair, put my tinted moisturiser on, and away
Always.
I'm ready for camera.
Ready. So would you, if any fitness professionals are watching or listening and maybe they've still not jumped in or they're not sure, or what would your advice be to anybody, Mike? What would your sort of confidence boosting advice be at this point?
Oh my God! If you've been thinking about doing it for so long, just do it. Literally do it, and actually do it how I've done it. Set up a private page that people actually want to be in and know that you're going to go live in, because that'll make you feel so much more comfier about going live and doing it. And as soon as you've gone live once or twice, you will never go back.
You'll never go back. If anybody wants to come and join you and they want to jump in for a couple of weeks, and where can they find you? How can they find you on social media?
They can find me through Mike Vine's Personal Training Services, my business page. Just message me through there, or on my Instagram at mbpts. So they can message me through there and stuff. And you said you'd do a pop-up for me, didn't you?
I'd love to do a pop-up. We've got pop-ups all around this week. We're doing pop-ups for Yoga Fit, pop-up for... I'm doing a pop-up for something else. I'm doing a pop-up for South Africa. Are you doing a Yoga Fit pop-up?
Yeah, tomorrow at 9:15 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, and I'll definitely do a pop-up for you. I love doing them. I love doing them.
Well, tell me what you have a think. Tell me what you want to do, and I'll just pop it on. It'd be fab. Yeah.
Mike, total pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's been exciting.
Thank you, hasn't it? Thank you.
Thanks.